I want to tell you about a story from college that takes place before I went on and went through what I would call my own personal spiritual journey, or any sort of healing. And for me, it's a message that is really important to the way that we operate now, the way that I operate now, even. And it's before I was fully aware of it. So it has to do with I took a class in college that was public speaking. I'm sure it covered some sort of elective, and that's why I chose it. Also, because I was a radio broadcasting major, and maybe it would help in some way with the way that I spoke on the radio, also. So I took this public speaking class, and I I know that I had been nervous before to be in plays or to be in front of an audience of some sort when I was younger. So now in college, for some reason, it didn't feel as scary. Or what really happened is I saw that people were nervous getting up there. And what I realized is I just didn't want to be nervous going up. So I decided not to be nervous, which sounds easier said than done, but it was genuinely, I saw what was happening and I decided I needed to do the opposite. I didn't want to be nervous up there. So I really truly let go of what people were going to think of me. And, well, sort of. I let go of the idea that they might think negatively of me. And I thought, well, if I go up there and I'm not nervous, then maybe that can inspire somebody else to get up and not be nervous also. So I thought of it from a positive perspective of if I get up there, somebody else is going to think uh, something positive about the way that I'm presenting myself, and that might help them get up and do something positive for themselves and not be nervous for themselves. So I let go of what they thought in a negative way, and I connected with my body, and I really came from that place. And that was sort of a comfort to me, instead of the comfort being to not show up and to not be visible and to not express myself during this whatever presentation that I had to do for public speaking. And I truly just made myself really comfortable up there. And I realized that I took some of that with me when I did my senior thesis. So I did something very similar where I wasn't the first to go, which was not a big deal if I would have been, but I noticed that everyone was sort of standing behind a computer, off to the side, and not really visible and available for the audience, for anybody who was watching. So it felt like they were hiding behind this computer in order to be safe. So again, I noticed that and I thought, well, if I'm these professors who are grading, judging, who are looking at what is being presented, I wouldn't want to see a speaker be over in the corner and hiding. So, from the second person that did that, I decided when it was my turn, and we didn't know when it was going to be our turn, it was a surprise, that I wouldn't stand over there. I made it a point that I was going to show up and not stand there. I was going to be out in the open. I was going to be available. I was going to allow them to see me and to express myself and to share what I had to share for my thesis, without hiding from it. And I noticed immediately when I moved over and they could see me, there was something like, oh, she's showing up here. She's not going to go hide over there. I could see it in their face. And it was sort of the same thing from the public speaking class, because what I did is I looked at how things were being presented and I decided this is how I want to show up instead. So I didn't just follow with what was going to happen with what everyone else was doing. I decided truly, genuinely how I wanted to show up. And I think it's a great lesson for myself. It's a reminder for myself and a lesson for anybody else who wants to take it, that we get to choose the way that we show up, and we don't have to do it the same way that everyone else is showing up. We can do it in our own way, and we can use the way that people are showing up as um, a sort of threshold barometer, an indicator of how we want to. And it's not that we're then comparing ourselves, but we're doing it in a way that allows us to just be who we want to be and to choose that and to choose to show up however it is that we need to. So I just kind of wanted to share that because it popped up into my mind, both of these. They're always really, for some reason, I always think about that when I feel nervous or when I think that I might need to hold back a little bit. And I think about those times that I was able to do that, that I really just faced it and I said, why? I don't want to be nervous. There's no reason to be. Not necessarily, it being about anybody else. It was truly genuinely about me and how I wanted to show up. Regardless of how anybody else was going to show up, regardless of what people might think, and for me, that's the most important reminder. And I hope that you can look back at certain examples and experiences in your own life that can remind you of those things. When did you have the courage to show up in a different way than you might normally? Or when did you have the courage to say something that, now you kind of hold back, you don't really say things. So look for those examples within your own life to help guide you, to show you that you made it through that. It got you to where you are now, that you can do it again. You can have that courage, and you can show up for yourself in any way that you choose to show up for yourself.